Welcome back, everyone. It's time for some more trivia. If you haven't seen my other episodes of trivia, I will add this one to a playlist with all of them, which I will link down in the description so you can check all of them out. I'll also throw up some stuff at the end on the end screen for you. How it works is this. I will let the question play out. I'll give it time to show all the responses, and then I'll pause it before it shows the answer. And I will give my answer if I know it. I haven't seen this yet, so we'll see. I keep looking for ones that are going to be really challenging and really stump me, and I've missed some on some of these for sure. And then we'll also use it as an opportunity to actually talk about the history behind those questions if it's a topic that I know something about, and hopefully I will. So it's an opportunity to have a little fun, but also learn and talk about a variety of topics in the process. I will link in the description to the original content. This one is on a channel that's called Brain Munch Quizzes. So let's go ahead and dive in. I have no idea what
topics. Are you ready to be taken back in time? Today's quiz is all about history, so get ready for 10 questions that will really test your knowledge. Question 1. What was the name of the Anglo-Saxon king whose death at the Battle of Hastings in 1066 is depicted on the Bayeux Tapestry? Edward the Confessor, Alfred the Great, Harold Godwinson, or Cedric of Wessex?
So it's Harold Godwinson. And Edward the Confessor was a king of England. In fact, he's buried in Westminster Abbey. Alfred the Great was a king of Wessex who had this dream of uniting all of the various English kingdoms into an England, which eventually happened, I think, under his son or grandson. Not real familiar with Cedric of Wessex, but it's Harold Godwinson. He was killed at the Battle of Hastings after having won a battle up at Stamford Bridge. There were basically three armies that were competing at that point for control of England. Harold wins the first battle and then loses the second to William the Bastard, as he was known, the Duke of Normandy. There's actually like a movie or a TV show coming out about them pretty soon. I'm excited about. But it's Harold Godwinson.
Harold Godwinson. Question 2. How old is the Earth in years?
It's not really history, that's more science.
Million, 4.54 billion, or 4.54 trillion?
So science will say it's 4.54 billion. Again, that's why I say this is science and not history, because history is about written record, and written history really only goes back, 10,000 years, if that, to what we have recorded. It's probably less than that. We have certain things that we can see as evidence of people that have left behind, but actual written history actually probably only goes back, 4,000 or 5,000 years.
4.54 billion years old. Question 3. The first female recipient of a Nobel Prize in Science was Marie Curie.
Cue all the Polish people saying, no, her name was not Marie Curie. It was Waleska? No, Waleska is somebody else. She had a Polish name.
It was the second. Irene Joliot-Curie.
I actually don't know the
Donna
answer
Strickland,
to this.
Dorothy Crowfoot Hodgkin, or Barbara McClintock.
I'm going to go with Barbara McClintock, but I have no idea why, and I actually don't know any of these folks, unfortunately. Need to study up on my scientist history.
Irene Joliot-Curie.
Another Curie.
Question 4. What is the name of the oldest commissioned warship in the world? USS Constitution, Mary Rose,
This could be a trick
HMS
question.
Warrior, or HMS Victory?
All right, so this could be a trick question here, and I'll say why. HMS Victory is the oldest commissioned warship in the world. I believe it actually remains the flagship, like for the First Lord of the Admiralty or something like that. But USS Constitution is the oldest warship afloat, the commissioned warship, that actually can sail and goes out onto the sea occasionally. So it depends on what they're going to go with here. It should be Victory under that wording of the question.
HMS Victory.
Yeah.
Question 5. Which U.S. president was born William Jefferson Blythe III? Richard Nixon, John F. Kennedy, Bill Clinton, or William McKinley?
So it's Bill Clinton. William McKinley is actually William McKinley Jr. I mean, if we're going to get real technical about people's names. William Jefferson Blythe III is Bill Clinton. He took his stepfather's name, Clinton. He's one of several presidents that are known by names other than their birth names. Gerald Ford was born Leslie Lynch King. Ulysses S. Grant was born Hiram Ulysses Grant. Calvin Coolidge is John Calvin Coolidge, and Woodrow Wilson is Thomas Woodrow Wilson, and Grover Cleveland is Stephen Grover Cleveland. A lot of people went by their middle names back in the day.
Bill Clinton.
In fact, it's kind of funny. My great-grandfather, his name was James Estill Mowry, but he was known by Estill his whole life, and Estill's what's on his tombstone. But he was one of 11 boys and one girl in their family of 12 kids. And I think 10 of the 11 boys went by their middle names. Crazy.
Question 6. The Egyptologist Howard Carter reportedly said he could see wonderful things on first looking into the tomb of which pharaoh in 1922? Amenhotep I, Ramesses II, Tutankhamun, or Hatshepsut?
So it's Tutankhamun. Hatshepsut was a female, but I believe is she the one that was actually known as a pharaoh? I think so. Ramses II is known as Ramses the Great. He's one of the all-time great pharaohs. And I do want to dive into some more Egyptian history. I'm hoping to get to Egypt once things calm down in that part of the world a little bit. But yeah, Howard Carter, Lord Carnarvon, they were all part of that expedition that found King Tut's tomb in 1922. And it was a big deal, not because King Tut was a big deal. It was actually a pretty minor pharaoh in the grand scheme of things. But unlike most of these other guys, his tomb was intact. Oop, bumping into my microphone there.
Tutankhamun.
Died young. He was a teenager when he died.
Question 7. On which ship did Captain William Bligh's crew rise up and mutiny against him in 1789? HMS Bounty.
Yep.
HMS Endeavour, HMS Beagle, or HMS Surprise?
Yeah, HMS Bounty. Surprise, isn't that the one in Master and Commander, Far Side of the World, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. If you have any interest whatsoever in the Age of Sail, especially in the Napoleonic era, fantastic movie. It's a fictional story, but it's one of those great examples of a fictional story that's told in a completely historical way. Like, they went out of their way to be as precise as possible in showing what that time period would have looked like and what life would have been like on a ship like that, even though it may be a fictional story. Fantastic, though. But it's HMS Bounty is the Mutiny on the Bounty, famous movie.
HMS Bounty. Question 8. How long after World War II ended was the United Nations formally established? 2 years, 2 months, or 2 weeks?
I actually don't know the answer to this, but the term United Nations was being used during the war. Toward the end of the war, you start hearing a lot of references made to the United Nations in terms of talking about the Allies. So I'm going to guess 2 weeks, but it's hard to say. I guess it depends, first of all, how are we defining after World War II, right? Because if we're talking about the end of hostilities with Japan, I guess we're talking about September. I'm going to say 2 weeks.
2 months.
Oh, okay. I had no idea, really.
Question 9. Romans loved to eat garum with their meals. What was it? Fermented fish juice, a sweet herb, a dried egg, or pickled fruit?
Garum. I actually don't know this. I really hope it's a sweet herb or dried egg because the other two sound gross to me. But I'm going to go with a sweet herb. But something deep inside me is horrified at the thought that it might be fermented fish juice. Especially since the Romans were so close to the sea, it might make sense.
Fermented fish juice.
I was afraid of that. Ugh.
Question 10. In 1932, the Australians declared war on which creatures believed to have become a nuisance? Camels, kangaroos, emus or koalas?
The Emu War, which they lost, by the way. Sorry, Australia, I love you. You guys were fantastic fighters in the First and Second World Wars, but not so much against the emus. We've done some videos about this. It's the Emu War.
Emus. And for today's true or false bonus question, the British monarch is the head of the state of Canada.
That's absolutely true. Oh, I guess they're not going to show the answer to that one. Well, that was only 10 questions, so I feel like we need to do another one. Let's find another good one to do here. All right, we're going to jump right to this one from another channel known as Quiz Time, and we'll put the link down in the description for that one as well. 25 world history trivia questions. Let's go ahead and dive right into the first one. It's already showing up on the screen here. Who was the Roman emperor when the period of Pax Romana started? Peace is what Pax stands for. That's Caesar Augustus. It's definitely got to be him. He's the first Roman emperor, so I believe that's who that would be.
Pax Romana started.
Julius Caesar wasn't technically a Roman emperor.
Caesar or Nero?
He was a dictator.
It was Augustus Caesar. Who was the first U.S. president that was impeached?
All right, so Richard Nixon was not impeached, though they were beginning the process of impeachment when he resigned. Bill Clinton was impeached, but was not removed from office. Impeachment is basically the indictment by the House. Then there's a trial. The Senate votes. Takes 2/3 to convict and kick you out of office. Bill Clinton was not convicted. Neither was Andrew Johnson. He was saved by a single vote in the Senate. If one vote had changed, he would have been removed from office.
Richard Nixon, Bill Clinton, or Andrew Johnson? It was Andrew Johnson.
17th president.
What is the meaning of the R in the USSR? Revolution.
So the English that we use for this is Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Republic, or region.
Although in Russian, I think it's CCCP.
The R stands for Republic.
Republic.
In what year did the assassination of Gandhi happen? 1932, 1948, or 1952?
I think it's 1948 he was assassinated.
Gandhi was
interesting.
assassinated.
Indira Gandhi was also later assassinated. No relation to him.
1948. Memphis was the ancient capital of Babylon, Egypt, or Persia?
Capital of Babylon was Babylon, I think. Capital of Persia, can't remember off the top of my head, but it's Egypt. Memphis was the ancient capital of Egypt.
Memphis is the ancient capital of Egypt. St. Patrick introduced Christianity to what country? Ireland, Norway, or Portugal?
Well, I think most people know this. They got a picture of St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City there, which is beautiful, by the way. St. Patrick introduced Christianity, it is said, to Ireland. He was not Irish. He was Romano-British. So he was born in, I think, today's England, to a Roman family. But yeah, is associated with Ireland as the patron saint of Ireland.
He introduced Christianity to Ireland. No multiple choice. The famous bloodless people power revolutions happened in what country?
I have no idea. I don't think I've ever actually heard that term before. Man, I'm slacking on this one. Cuba?
They took place in the Philippines.
We just talked about Philippines too.
How many delegates signed the Declaration of Independence? 32, 56, or 64?
56, most of whom signed on August 2nd. So there's a lot of confusion about the dates. July 2nd is when the resolution for independence was formally adopted. That was when the Continental Congress voted for independence. It was 12 delegations in favor and 1, New York, abstained. they ratified the Declaration of Independence, the final wording of the Declaration, on the 4th of July. And that's the date we've gone with. That's why that's the date on the Declaration. But the embossed copy that was signed by everybody, the one that's in the National Archives that you go and look at today, wasn't even ordered until then. And so it took a couple of weeks for them to get that made. And then they all gathered to sign on August 2nd. Not everybody signed that day, but that was kind of when the formal signing took place.
There were 56 delegates signing the Declaration of Independence. No multiple choice. What country is credited for the development of military camouflage?
I feel like that's a France thing. I don't know why I'm thinking it's France. I actually don't know for sure.
France is responsible
Good for France.
The development of military camouflage.
Which is a lot better than those crazy bright red pants they were wearing at the start of World War I.
No multiple choice. Complete this motto from the French Revolution. Liberty, equality.
Fraternity? Which I guess, would that be brotherhood? Is liberté, égalité, fraternité. Guess you could say it's brotherhood or fraternity.
And fraternity. No multiple choice. Which country has the most number of casualties during World War II?
Definitely the Soviet Union. I don't think it's even close. Maybe China. Wait, is it China? Soviet Union. It's got to be. Yeah.
It was the Soviet Union.
China had a lot too, though. People forget that.
Which of these countries did not join the U.S. in their fight against the British? France, Portugal, or the Netherlands?
The Netherlands gave financial resources. I'm not sure that they actually fought like in actual combat. So I'm going to go with Portugal, though, because the Netherlands definitely supported the U.S. financially.
It was Portugal.
John Adams was sent to the Netherlands to deal with that.
How did Hitler die? Suicide, assassination, or poisoning?
Suicide. I mean, he assassinated himself, I guess you could say. He also bit down on a capsule for poisoning, but shot himself.
He committed suicide. Who was the U.S. president from 1801 to 1805? John Adams, George Washington, or Thomas Jefferson?
So Washington's president for 8 years, from 1797 to from 1789 to 1797. Adams was his vice president. Adams serves the next 4 years from 1797 to 1801 with Jefferson as his vice president. And then Jefferson wins the election of 1800, becomes president in 1801. At that time, the person who came in second in electoral votes became vice president. That was changed when Jefferson became president. So they went to kind of the more traditional running mate scenario that we have now. But Jefferson serves 2 terms, and then it kind of goes from there. So the answer is Jefferson.
It was Thomas Jefferson. In what year did the Ottoman Empire conquer Constantinople? 1353, 1453, or 1553?
So it's 1453, and a lot of people point to that year as the end of what we call the medieval period. Some people, when talking about more Western history, like the English, for example, will point to 1485 with the Battle of Bosworth and Henry Tudor coming to the throne of England. But a lot of people use 1453. Kind of end of an era, really.
The year was 1453. Who was the person behind the famous drawing Vitruvian Man? Da Vinci, Newton, Galilei?
I actually didn't know that that's what that was called, but it's Leonardo da Vinci. Isaac Newton, of course, a scientist. Galileo Galilei, famous scientist and astronomer as well. It's Da Vinci.
That was Da Vinci. Byzantine was the blank portion of the Roman Empire. Northern, Western, or Eastern?
Yeah, the Byzantine Empire is the Eastern Roman Empire. I'm going to guess, is that an image from inside the Hagia Sophia, which I would love to see someday in Istanbul. Incredible marvel of architecture.
Byzantine was the eastern portion of the Roman Empire. Hippocrates was known as the father of medicine, history, or literature.
Medicine. That's why they called it the Hippocratic Oath.
He is the father of medicine. The Battle of the Bulge was a battle during World War II, the American Civil War, or the French Revolution.
I think most people know this one. It's the Second World War, January of 1940.
It was a battle during World War II. What is the name of the line that divided North and South Korea? The 52nd parallel, the 38th parallel, or the 25th parallel?
So the Korean War is kind of this war of extremes, right? Like, the front gets pushed all the way to one side, then it gets pushed all the way back to the other side, and then it kind of settles in somewhere in the middle. And when they sign the armistice, there's never been a peace treaty, so there's just an armistice in place. 38th parallel.
That line is the 38th parallel. In which country did the Battle of Waterloo happen? Russia, Belgium, or France?
It's Belgium. It's just outside of Brussels. It's a little south of Brussels. And I'm going there in July.
That took place in Belgium.
Pretty excited.
Hellenes refers to the name that blank used to identify themselves. Greeks, Franks, or Romans?
It's the Greeks. Hellas is Greece. Kingdom of the Hellenes, they called it.
How many of Henry VIII's wives were executed? 5, 2, or 1?
All right, it was 2. It was Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, both accused of adultery. Probably only the second one was actually guilty of it. But he did have 6 wives. People always say divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. If we want to get technical about it, it's dissolution, not divorce, because if it had been a divorce, he couldn't have remarried so long as the divorced one was still alive. A dissolution means the marriage never happened, it's null and void, it's an invalid marriage, frees him to marry again.
He executed 2 wives. What country was discovered by Nadad the Viking? France, Iceland, or Greenland?
I'm going to say Greenland. Might be Iceland. It was Iceland.
He discovered Iceland.
Beautiful country, from what I'm told.
No multiple choice. In what year was the NAFTA enacted?
North American Free Trade Agreement. That was Bill Clinton's administration. It was a big deal at the time. I'm going to say 93. I don't know why 93 is sticking out in my mind. I was in high school. I feel like it was 93. Oh, 94. I was so close. Wow. I'll take that. I'll take being a year off on something that happened 30 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that was 30 years ago, but it was next year. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Links in the description, not only to the original for both of these quizzes we just did, but also to the playlist for all the trivia that we've done over time. I'll also throw up some here on the screen at the end. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have a specific one you'd like me to do, let me know in the comment section below. If you put a link, understand it won't show up right away. I'll have to go in and manually approve that link. It's an anti-spam feature on YouTube. I'm not intentionally blocking anything that you posted has a link in it. So just understand it may take some time for it to show up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.